Welcome to William Steele, True Crime and Steel Spotlight TV, radio, and now public relations. This is William Steele with my guest host on our special Saturday Night Live, Ignacio Esteban, retired ATF agent. Ignacio, thank you
Bill.
for coming back.
Yeah, brother. We enjoy it, man. We keep on cranking out the shows. They're pretty good stuff.
Oh yeah, the numbers are growing. We're very, very grateful.
Yes.
The way to make these shows grow, everybody. As I got to be careful about calls to action because I put these out on many different platforms. But the way these shows grow is if you, my viewers and fans, hit that like and subscribe button.
Absolutely.
And if you want to do it now, that would be helpful. And so you're gonna have another great show here today. We're gonna be doing these political shows now in the lead up to the presidential elections, and so we're gonna be discussing Trump's issues with the law and the Biden family corruption and RFK, and especially dealing with the debates that we just had.
We can start with that since that just recently happened, then work our way around. It's interesting how these guys interact with each other, and if the audience hasn't seen it, I encourage them, especially if you're political, especially with the election come up. I encourage every American, regardless if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian, what have you, to look at the debates. Look at every side. If you're on one side, look at the other side. I always do that sometimes. I don't watch cable as much as I used to. I'm more online. So online now, I do that. I go see maybe MSNBC, just see their perspective. Then I go the other side. So if you're a Democrat or right down the pipe, just take a look at this debates. And I found that Vivek Ramaswamy is now, if you don't know who he is, he could be now a up and rising star in the GOP. Very charismatic, young guy. He's about 38, but he's a self-made billionaire. He made millions when he got out of Harvard. A little background on him. I didn't know much until I started researching and looking at him. And his parents are Indian immigrants. Oh, you're there, Bill?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. You kind of froze there for a second. Family, Indian immigrants, came to the United States. He was raised in Cincinnati, Hindu religion, but he went to Catholic school. He went to St. Xavier in Cincinnati, a Jesuit school, which is good. So he kind of appreciates a Catholic Christian background, which he was raised with, which is good. And then, of course, he went to Harvard. He was valedictorian in his class, very smart guy. He went to Yale for law school. And then he also wrote later Woke Inc., which is a New York Times bestseller, which really helped him. So he's also an accomplished author and everything else. And then you look at his ideas, but they see that his numbers are strong. And Trump, of course, he wasn't there at the debate. He's a runaway.
What was Vivek's claim to fame? How did he make his fortune for my audience?
He's an entrepreneur, right? He was in biotech, right?
Okay.
And then he went to other industries there, and he's done really, really well. He sold his company, and now he's also co-founder of different companies out there. So he's an entrepreneur, and he's done well with that. But he can do a lot of different things. I mean, he has the law background. He has now the background with politics here. He's written already 3 books, but Woke Inc. is his most famous one. So he's also done really well as an author. He's also doing a lot of shows. He also has his own podcast. So you can watch him also talk on there. So he is involved in a lot of things. A young guy. He even likes rapping. He's doing Eminem song, which is pretty funny. But then Eminem, I heard, got upset with him rapping at his rallies, and he asked him to stop.
Eminem must be a Democrat. I don't know.
You would think, right? He doesn't like. I think the song he was doing was what was it? What was the song he was rapping to?
I'm Not Afraid, I think.
Lose Yourself.
Oh, okay.
Lose Yourself. He was rapping that song there. So if you want to have fun, check that out in Iowa. He was rapping at the end of his rallies with he has an alter ego. I think he calls Devek. And he had fun with that growing up too. So he likes rapping, he likes everything else. So he's a character. Right. But a lot of
I love the way during the debate. I didn't see the entire debate, but I looked at some of the highlights. I noticed there's like a lot of shorts and very short news clips with the top 5 points, the top 10 points of the debates. The most inspiring things, or the most critical, or the ones that got the best reaction.
The best one-liners, right?
Best one-liners, and one of them was Chris Christie saying, somebody with a skinny kid with a funny last name. Last time we heard that was Barack Obama. Another rank amateur, and we see how that turned out. And then he called Vivek. He's speaking like he's speaking right out of Chat GPT.
Artificial intelligence, right? But you know what his response was to that? So he said,
"Give me a hug.
Come give me a hug." because he gave Obama a big hug when he came, right?
Right.
He said, "Well, man, when he came to New Jersey, you used to give him big hugs. Well, come give me a hug, right?"
Yeah, and then like you said, you mentioned Trump. Trump did not participate,
He did
but
not.
I
He did
saw
not.
interviews he did. He said, "You know what I'm doing?" He said, "I don't need to." He's way ahead of all of them.
He
He
is.
said, "I'm watching it for one reason only, to try to decide who my running mate's going to be."
Well, and that's funny you brought that up because I have a theory, and this is just my theory. Just watching all the conversations, everybody talking, and I've been watching all these guys doing a lot of interviews, from RFK Jr. to Vivek to the guys who do political shows, and we do true crime. So I can prepare and talk about. Vivek was one of the first ones to say early that he would pardon Trump. If he was president, he would pardon Trump, and that's important because let's say Trump wants a running mate. He wants someone that he knows he will pardon. He needs another Ford, right? Nixon had Ford, right? He's looking for another Ford just in case things don't go well. Vivek could be the 21st century Ford here, and he could be him because let's say that they lose the House because it's a very tight minority they have. It could happen next election. The Republicans lose the House. The Senate is deadlocked. It goes to Democrats, and all of a sudden they decide to impeach him. Even though he wins, he gets impeached. This time he'll get removed because a lot of the senators the second time voted. His margin of not being removed was a lot smaller than the first one.
Right.
So I think if he's convicted, he'll probably end up getting removed. So Vivek is his pretty much plan B to get him out of jail card, right?
Yeah, he's definitely likable and he's intelligent and all that, but does he have the experience? Chris Christie was talking about experience.
That's true.
I kind of like Chris Christie, but maybe I'm partial because I'm from the Northeast. I'm from New York City.
Right.
I know he was a former federal prosecutor, and
He was.
DeSantis was a prosecutor who, in my book, is very arrogant and doesn't care if people live or die. But that's my opinion on DeSantis. I can't stand DeSantis.
I know you had a personal issue with DeSantis. I think he's a good leader. I don't like his battle with wokeism. It's all right. You made your point, but Republicans are here to help corporations succeed, right? I don't like the war with Disney. It doesn't look well. It doesn't sound good. It's already cost them 2,000 jobs. Disney said we're not going to put another corporate office in Orlando because that was going to create more jobs there because of this whole battle. And then he says, well, I'm going to create other theme parks to rival Disney from the state. So why are you doing that? That's not what I voted for him in 2018. And I'm moved in Virginia, so I couldn't vote for the last time. But I just wouldn't have. I don't know. I mean, I'm glad he kept the business open, which was good during COVID while the blue states shut down. That helped. But this battle with wokeism, I think you have to be aligned. You made your point, right? Why not have people say, listen, if you're a problem with Disney and their policy with, whatever, transgender, whatever they're teaching you don't like or saying, let people make their own decisions. And if they want to boycott, okay. Hey, I made my point. You boycott, but there's no need for tax dollars to be funding this to go to war with a major corp. This is maybe the most beloved American corporation there is.
Right.
Do you want to go to war?
I think a lot of people are so disgusted that, they're moving in a direction that most Americans don't agree with, and they're really promoting agendas that are completely contrary to family values at this point.
Then you know what? Then you decide not to go there.
Yeah.
But don't.
It's a shame because it's a shame because it's a beautiful place. It's an exciting place for the kids and for even adults, but it's I don't know. It's become
like you said. You know what? Other parts of there. SeaWorld is very patriotic. We went to SeaWorld last trip to Orlando. We didn't go to Disney, and they're very patriotic. And I like how they treat the military, how they treat first responders. So that's always a good option. And there's also Legoland. I mean, there's so many other theme parks. They're not the only game in town, and that's my point.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So,
what about this Nikki Haley? What do you think of her?
I don't know if she's going to be. Her numbers are really bad. I mean, let me give you the quick numbers of the polls here. Trump 62%. He's like I said. I don't think he'll do any debates unless he loses New Hampshire, Iowa, right? Uh-huh. If he loses that, then he'll start doing the debates and starts getting his point across. But if he's crushing it, and I've never seen so many candidates and one candidate so way ahead, right? I mean, it's 8 guys and 1 female, and he's such way ahead. It's almost like, why bother? It's like that's a JV team, and he's the varsity, right? He's out there, and I don't think Nikki Haley's numbers like 2 or 3%. She's a non-factor. I mean, I know she worked for his administration. She was a former governor of South Carolina. She was the ambassador to the UN for the U.S., right? So she has that, but I think she had tension with Trump also. There was issues there with Nikki Haley. Maybe VP, maybe, but I don't know. I think he's liking more of Vivek, especially with him being so. He's not really attacking Trump. He is a fan of Trump, what appears. He said he likes some of the things he's done, and I think Trump likes that he will pardon him if something happens. And I think that's
Yeah,
he has to back his mind.
He's looking strategically at the long game, that he wants to be tapped as a running mate, if nothing else. I think with Nikki Haley, I've seen some interviews with other journalists that have complained about her, that when she does events, speaking engagements, and questions and answers, press conferences, she wants all the questions given to her in advance, even days in advance, and she gives very, very prepared answers, and she doesn't deviate. She won't take like off the cuff, questions. You know how Trump would do like an impromptu press conference and make sure he got to everybody.
So does Vivek. He's doing the same thing.
Yeah,
he's a sharp guy. He's really sharp, and he's prepared. Now, some of the answers he gives, some things I like. Foreign policy, I think, is his weakness. Right? He's not very happy with Israel. He thinks we're spending way too much with Israel. What's going on there? Billions of dollars where they can support themselves. Okay, he doesn't support the war in Ukraine, but obviously we've talked about that. The sovereign nation, the right to protect itself. All right, now they have most of the country. I think it's time, like I said, we don't want endless wars either. Right. We don't want to keep on. We don't want to we're spending the bulk of it. I know NATO's also spending some money, but over 100 billion and counting. We're going to hit $1 trillion if at this rate, right? And we can use that money for other things. They need some sort of deal. But Putin is, as we talked about, look what he did to the head of Wagner Security, confirmed. We didn't confirm it last time. Dead, killed. He didn't say, he made mistakes. Obviously, he gave the order to kill him. What I was reading is that they were also watching him for a while, and they knew the best time to hit him. So airplane, other members of Wagner, high-ranking security members, and now forcing those who were part, you have to register in the army or in the military.
Yep, and I remember that there was something out last week that said that he checked his plane thoroughly before he got in them, and that's why they knew the only way they can get him was a missile. So that's what they used.
That's what it seemed like they got him.
I have a question for my fans, and I would like to put this out there. It's kind of gonna catch you off guard.
Sure.
So I know, and I kind of say it tongue in cheek, but if Ronald Reagan can do it, Trump can do it, why can't I do it? Now, I'm not coming in for this presidential election, but I am a reality TV star with 11.1 million views on TikTok, millions of fans. I'll say it. Season 2 is coming out soon.
Good.
Whether or not I'm going to be in it, still up in the air, but I'm still going to be involved with this going forward. The problem is, like with The Apprentice, when Trump ran, they have to remove him and all his episodes of Apprentice from the air because of the law of equal time requirements.
Oh, okay.
So that's why Schwarzenegger was able to get The Apprentice, because Trump was running for president. They weren't allowed to air his shows anymore because they would have to give all the candidates that same airtime.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to run now. Most people, when they run for president, you find out later they're crooks. The Biden crime family, the various administrations. Possibly Trump did some things that may or may not be inappropriate. But you learn these things later. With me, you know what you're getting. I came out of that background. Right. I'm pretty good at getting things done. And guess what? I know I don't know everything, but I do know where to find the answers.
That's
I know
important.
Who to ask. If I get stuck, I can ask Trump, or I can ask, how do you say his name? Vivek,
Vivek Ramaswamy.
I can ask you, right. I know how to pick good advisors and get things done. And I was very, very serious about entertaining a possible presidential run. Probably not this time, next time around, because I don't want to really go against Trump.
No, nobody has a chance right now. You get steamrolled.
Right. So for the next go round, I'm asking my fans to put in the comments how many people out there listening to this would vote for me. Please vote up or down and tell me why. And I think I really want to run for president.
I like politics, Bill. So
I enjoy helping people. I was on the offender representative committee in prison. I helped people that were negotiating grievances and trying to avoid litigation with the administration and helping them get their medical care. They get their rights enforced. So I was always standing up for the underdog. My criminal history. Felons are allowed to run for president in this country. Should I run? Should I not? Yes, no, and why?
Yeah.
Comment, please.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, people ask me also and talk about me and everything else, but not president. I was thinking possibly local, congressional.
Wow.
They have it where I'm living here. We have Abigail Sandberger and we got redistricted. I didn't have her under, and now she's a very Democrat, controversial. I don't think very pro Second Amendment. She's pro-choice. A lot of issues that she's against, I don't support. And a lot of people question and say, hey, she needs to be challenged. In my background in law enforcement, she's former CIA, former. I don't think she retired, and I think she also did other law enforcement. I'm not sure where else, but it seems like it's time for a change, and someone background.
I think your area is a hotbed of retired federal law enforcement.
Law enforcement, military, everything. So that's a good thing for me, and especially redistricting where I live. So those things I look at. Possibilities, but I do enjoy.
I would definitely support you because we share a lot of the same views, and you took a chance doing shows with me. I would definitely support you and help promote your cause if you decided to run. Yeah,
thank you, man. I appreciate those are things I'm thinking about because I don't like her as representative. She wasn't my representative. They pretty much what term is gerrymandering, redistrict us under this, and I wasn't very happy with that. And she almost lost last time, so I don't know. It's still a year away. Things to think about. Things to look into, so we'll see.
If you become a congressman or something, then you have to still do my shows once in a while.
Absolutely, man. Get the word out, and hopefully by then we'll have a lot more subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing what I can.
Well. I mean, you get over 2,000 and growing, Bill. So that's excellent. It's doing
I'm
well.
learning. Every time I go on another guy's show, like I told you, they give me tips, and I got some the other day for growing this a little bit faster.
We'll keep on growing. I think both of us have done Matt Cox. Both have done very well. Shout out to Matt. I'm doing another show with him. I think you're maybe doing another one too down the road with him.
Yep. He said if I get down to Florida here in the next few weeks, I'll go to his home studio and we'll do another one.
Yeah. He's done well. He hooked me up with his Audible guy who did professional voice actor, Sean Milo, who's done ATF Undercover, which you can see the poster there. And the other one should be coming out shortly. The Most Dangerous Crime Syndics of Our Time, almost 7-hour listen. I got quite a few that I'm making. So it takes time. So I'm into the Audible books, and that's the next step, I think. And they do as well, Bill, as the other books. So Audible, people like to listen to their books.
I just saw a commercial about that it's grown like X amount of percent, like it's almost doubled in the last year alone.
It is. People love it. And I've seen my sales do really well too. So people rather listen to Audible than read, which is fine because it makes some people driving, they're going on a trip, there's something. It just makes sense for a lot of people. Some people like to, when they go to sleep, to have a book in their ear for a while, and then they go to sleep.
Yeah, so. A friend of mine here, he's got a karaoke place. Ken, his name is Ken's Basement Karaoke. Shout out to Ken. He's going to help me get this done. He told me what to do to record it on this end, give it to him. He's got all this super high-end equipment. He knows what he's doing. He's going to make it sound right. He said, send it to me a chapter at a time.
Okay.
As quick as I send it, as quick as it'll get done.
So you're going to have your book done then. Which one?
Yeah, I'm going to do both. Well, we have Sex and the Serial Killer, My Bizarre Times with Robert Durst. And then I have the second book about Ghislaine Maxwell. And as most people know, my co-author on the first book was Gary Greenberg, editor of the National Enquirer.
Yeah. And
Nancy Grace covered it on her podcast while I was still in prison. So beyond that, I have 2 others coming out. And again, hopefully that more involvement with the show. I've been offered some movie roles and all that. And, I'm trying to figure out which.
Yeah, I'm working on that too. I have my screenplays done too with production companies, and see, that's another thing. It's if I get that done with a TV series based on ATF Undercover, that'd be nice too. So I had the pilot done for the series for that, and I have different production companies looking at it. So we'll see.
It would be good, and I don't know if there's ever been a show like this. There was a show called the FBI Files or something like that, where it was like week to week. But these days, I think they call them drama series. They keep like Breaking Bad or something. Well, they stretch them out, and that's really where the good lucrative income is if you can get one of those. So has there ever been one strictly about ATF cases?
There was one years ago. I remember seeing one years ago and stuff like that. That's a possibility. But I got quite a few my ATF case in my book, so I'm hoping we can do it like that and give it like a Breaking Bad feel, right?
Right. That's what I'm looking for. That feel.
Yes.
That and Goodfellas type feel, but the jewel thief, trying to do the right thing, but constantly drugged back by his cocaine addiction.
Right.
All right. So it's just incredible. For the fans of the show, the viewers, Ignacio's retired ATF after almost 30 years. He's got 75 books out now.
Yeah. I'm almost done my 76th book, Infamous LA Murders. That should be coming out shortly.
Yep. And we just put that up so we can reissue that and put the book with it. But so one of the things you discovered recently, you did a 1% biker book, exposing 1% bikers. You one of the people that you found it through your research. It's out there that one of the top guys in one of the top 1% clubs was actually an informant.
Yeah, remember
What's
we
going on?
talked about we did a great short on that. Hopefully, people take a look at it. And I think we got another one coming with Sonny Barger, from the Hells Angels, working out there doing a trial that I guess back in the 70s, he was being tried for murder for killing a drug courier for over an $80,000 drug debt, right? And you're looking at California 70s, and it came out during the trial for the defense side that a sergeant with the Oakland County Police Department, Police Department, said that Barger had been working for him for years, right? Working for him for years, giving information on left-wing organizations like the Black Panther, Weather Underground, leftist groups that involve problems where they have either bought firearms, or had explosives, or locations in exchange for consideration for other Hells Angels to be released that were incarcerated. So he had been.
I wonder if the assistants, that third-party assistants, they were aware of it, that were getting deals because the top guy of the Hells Angels at that time, Sonny Barger, was an informant.
Yeah, he was working. That's interesting. So that's something that people should look into. I put in my book, The Life of Sonny Barger. Full throttle writing with the Hells Angels. Take a look at that. And also do other ones on the Outlaws, the Mongols. The Mongols also had their Doc Cavazos also cooperated with the government after Operation Black Rain when they were taken down. And he cooperated. David Santillan allegedly later also cooperated with the feds. And now they're trying to seize the patch where they can't wear the colors anymore. And if that happens, the feds are successful.
Which group?
The Mongols. So if that's successful out of California, I think that'll send shockwaves and really, really concern the Hells Angels, the Outlaws, the Pagans, and all the other groups that they may take in their colors next. So watch out.
Right. I just want to say this. We got a little bit off track from the politics, but I will say this. Ignacio and I have agreed that we're doing these stories for cautionary tales to kind of warn people away from following in my footsteps or wanting to join these groups or gangs or whatever, because a lot of times the leadership themselves turn out to be the informants. They cut the deals. The underlings go down. These guys get 5 or 10 years, maybe less, maybe witness protection. And the underlings, they were responsible for recruiting, and many times they'll be the ones going to prison. So we're going to be doing a series of shows, maybe one big show or maybe and we're going to put some of the top leaders and show you the cases they cooperated in to let you know that this is not just talk and, jailhouse talk or prison talk. This guy's an ATF agent. He knows what the heck he's talking about. He knows who did what, who cooperated against who. He's not trying to get these guys hurt or in trouble. They're already in hiding, most of them.
It's well documented cases.
Right, well documented cases. Nobody's exposing anything that's not supposed to be exposed. But we're going to show you demonstrably and from experiences of guys I ran into in prison who were in leadership roles, who came to me in my law clerk role looking for help because they didn't get the deal they were supposed to get when they cooperated. Yeah. So for guys to say that they're not cooperating, take it with a grain of salt, because just about all, if not all, are.
Yeah, and going back to the 1%ers or other street gangs or what have you, obviously, if you're thinking about that and watching this show, obviously that's something you should not get involved in. It's organized crime. It's going to end up one or two ways. Either you're going to get killed or you're going to get a lot of time done. And I go back to the book, and I think I talked to one of the shows about that I wrote, Alaska, the Land of the Midnight Sun. Mm-hmm. My prequel before I got into law enforcement when I was a graduate, just graduated from St. Louis University. I was in my early 20s, 21, 22. I was in Alaska. I worked in a fishing cannery, right? So all the hardships there. And buddies of mine went up to a bluegrass festival in Talkeetna. This is summer of 93. And we noticed these Hells Angels doing security. And I think I told you the story of what they told me. And we talked to them. We said, hey, it looks like they're doing a lot of good, stuff for Toys for Tots, trying to bring kids, donation toys. I said, man, Hell's Angels, Toys for Tots. And man, maybe these guys, the reputation was these are a bunch of badasses on bikes and, always looking to get into brawls and stuff. And so we said, there's a local bar there. We said, we bombed some drinks and we were talking to one of the guys, and they know who our background, so they're in college and everything else. Hey, man, I said, that's great. You guys doing Toys for Tots and all that. He looked me right in the eye and said, man, you want nothing to do with these guys. It's all a facade and a bunch of bullshit just to fool the public what really we're about. He pretty much told us, man, just keep away from these guys are bad news.
Yeah. That was a Hell's Angel. A Hell's Angel gave you the warning?
Yeah. That's why we talked to this guy because we were curious because all of us said, hey, the Hell's Angels. I remember I didn't know that much about it. Later. Obviously, I would know a lot more about these groups. I'll write books about investigations, everything else. But you're in your early 20s, you see movies, but you really don't know what to think about these guys. And I found it cool. And I would find out research later. Yeah, these guys do a lot of security work for a lot of these concerts, right?
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't the Hells Angels founded by a guy who was in the military and just wanted a group of friends to ride with, and the camaraderie?
Otto Friedland out of San Bernardino. Yeah, right. That was the Hells Angel. But Sonny Barger founded the Hells Angels out of Oakland. He copied the name from another biker group. I think I have in my book. I think it was called Panther something, and it's in my book. And then he created the Hells Angels out of Oakland. But there were other Hells Angels that were found before that, and they had some battles. So they had to work that out. And I think Barger was the one to be able to get the bylaws and get things worked out, because Sonny Barger was also in the military beforehand, and he was underage. He lied about his age, got in there. But they found out he was under 18 after a year and a half. I think he was like 15 when he got in. And after about a year and a half, they got him out. But interesting life of Sonny Barger.
Yep.
Full throttle.
Let's get to these other gangsters now, these politicians. So.
Yeah, it's a different kind of group. My goodness. Remember, you want nothing to do with these guys. Their words. So, because they knew we were good people. And he said, and these are the Hells, because unfortunately, they recruit people who are down their luck, who are trying to get their life together. They haven't been successful, and they prey. All these organizations know how to prey on people. Right. Just like serial killers, just like they prey. And they realize that now these two, I'm not going to waste my time. They have, degrees or graduate, telling about experience, but we're just trying to figure out what they were about. And he said, exactly, Toys for Tots is just a facade. Just to fool the average person thinking we're good guys.
Right. All right. So the gangsters in the White House, the Bidens. Let me see what we have. We're going to talk about.
Let's talk about McConnell. So we're talking about people, Biden, what happened, and this is an interesting topic here, folks. If you haven't seen this video, you're going to see this. You need to see Mitch McConnell's second time, maybe a third by the time it airs. He is really having some issues. He really froze badly. He was in Kentucky doing a press conference again. This wasn't in the Capitol. This one time, basic, easy question. Hey, are you planning to run again in 2026? Senator, are you planning to run again? First he said, can you repeat the question? Then he just sat there and just froze. His aide came up to him and said, Senator, are you okay? And then security came around. He said, do you want to leave? And then he took him a while to say, no, I'm okay. He couldn't even answer the question. And then they finished the press conference. Right. That's a big argument that we need term limits. Mm-hmm. Regardless of age, there should be term limits in the Senate. Maybe like the president, 8 years, maybe 12, maybe 16. But people have been there 30, 40, 50 years. Come on. We don't need people like that. And then have you seen how horrible Dianne Feinstein looks now? She's in a wheelchair. She has horrible shingles. She's been out of Senate for over 2 weeks now. She is in bad shape. She needs to step down. She's almost 90. That's ridiculous. 90-year-old, shingles, sick, should not be the senator in California. Right. I'm sorry. It's not political. This is just something that's not right? So
they're keeping them there because of the name. There's some speculation that Biden's not even doing his job. There's other people making all these decisions. He can't have an intelligent conversation about supposedly his own policies.
He can't anymore. He's gone. Him and Kamala Harris have the ultimate word salad battle. They just talk in circles around each other. One says one thing, the other one says they're just. It's horrible to listen to both of them talk now. I don't know what her excuse is. I know his excuse. I'm not sure what's wrong with her. But she if you haven't seen, I thought, I don't know if I mentioned this show or another one, that it was a deep fake that she did on the DMZ in North and South Korea, where she was saying that North Korea was our greatest ally that we've been working with. And I said, are you kidding? South Korea. She got it confused. I'm like, this is embarrassing. And it was embarrassing. She couldn't even, she's clueless on policy and everything else.
To be in that arena, you should have some basic understanding. And before something important, brush up. Like I did about the debates. I went back over all the highlights before the show, a little bit last night, a little bit this morning.
Yeah, I spent hours watching these guys talk because I'm into politics, so that's something I enjoy doing, and that's why I got to know Vivek and his politics. And some of the stuff he says, we'll talk about. Chris Christie had made his mistakes, obviously, in New Jersey. He wasn't that popular when he left New Jersey, and he says the biggest mistake was helping Trump because he tried to go insider and he treated him like crap. He was going to be vice president, not Mike Pence. But Kushner, Christie's case against his father, he helped prosecute Kushner's father. A lot of people don't know that. And
Christie was on the prosecution team.
he was the main prosecutor against Kushner's father.
Wow.
And he had an agenda. He said, "Don't pick Chris Christie. I'm not going to work with that guy." That's his son-in-law. So Trump listened to his son-in-law, and he went with Mike Pence instead. So they went another trip out there, and I don't know. Maybe Chris would have also been indicted. I don't know if he, at the end, would he have also validated the Electoral College at the end, like Pence did, even all the pressure? I don't know. Maybe Christie wouldn't have lasted that long. I don't know. That's
Yeah, I think Pence maybe did the right thing, but he's from Indiana, which is where we're filming now, and the people here, for the most part, really wonderful people. Notwithstanding the one serial killer that I met, Charles Ray Smith.
Yes.
He wants to work, be an FBI informant, and then pose as an outlaw biker and all this stuff. But there's people here. It's very nice. So I see Pence as this another nice guy from Indiana, but highly ineffective and just too laid back to really push any agenda.
His numbers are horrific. I think it's at 2%. This outsider, Vivek Ramaswamy, who just came out of nowhere, he's doubled his numbers. So and Pence was in the White House. So that shows that people really have tuned him out. I think at the end, this debate's going to end really quickly because Trump is going to be a runaway. He's going to be a runaway train on this one. The question then becomes, and I know we talked about that scenario, who does he pick for his VP? I know it won't be Chris Christie because he talks too much bad about him. They're at it. It won't be Pence again. It'll be Nikki Haley. It could be Vivek. We'll see.
When are the next debates scheduled?
In September, late September.
Late September. And so
So
they narrow the field at that point. They'll try to get rid of.
I hope they get rid of the two, like the governor from North Dakota. He didn't do too well, and there was another guy there that wasn't doing much either. And maybe Tim Scott. Maybe they'll get rid of Tim Scott too, or the senator from I think South Carolina. They might get rid of him too.
You know who would have been a good president? I think maybe you have a different opinion. Former governor of Florida, Rick Scott. I think he.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it too late for anybody to jump in now? Some people still call
I think it's too late for any. I think so. I think Trump is a runaway. I don't think it matters anymore. People have made.
What's the criteria for somebody to jump in and to run for president? You have to have.
You can still run if you have money. You get yourself. You still got to get yourself on the all 50 states if you want to have a chance. Some people really, if you want to be serious, you want to be serious about it, right? Because if not, you're not going to be much time. They won't give you much airtime either. If they don't, if the media, the best thing is to do platforms like this and talk about your issues. That's what RFK Jr. has done, right?
I thought you had to have a 200 or 600,000 signatures or supporters. You
got to have a certain amount of states. You got to have signatures to be serious. Like I said, to be a serious candidate. Right. Some people don't care about that. They say, do us a write-in. You know what? I'm not going to be there officially on the ballot, but it'll be a write-in candidate where I don't have to waste my time with that. Just write my name in, but I can do all the shows, right? And I talk about it. So, and people say, hey, that's a good way to sell books, or that's a good way to promote yourself, or go on my shows or whatever. So some people use it, this is, what it is. Some people use it as a platform to promote themselves. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think another one to look forward to, we're talking about Biden and the issues he's having, term limits, age is an issue. Yeah. Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein, he's in that category for sure, right? He's going to, can he? I think he can finish the year. I hope he can, but I don't think he should run. And I think Gavin Newsom is their plan B, what it looks like.
He's horrible. He's destroyed California. As far as Mitch McConnell, I heard something earlier. They said that perhaps he has Parkinson's because that happens in Parkinson's.
Yes, I saw
that. And that his aides didn't panic when it happened, meaning they know something, they expect it.
This must happen a lot. This must happen more than we think.
Other people are saying because of, and this is opinion, and I'm just repeating what I've heard, because something to do with COVID vaccines, people are freezing up and, sudden this, sudden that. I don't know if that's true. That's not the opinion of YouTube. It's just my, rehashing.
I just know I'm not a doctor. I'm not, obviously, but he's having issues. And if he can't answer basic questions, and he's the Senate minority leader for the party, Republican Party, that's a problem. But they need him there for at least 3 more years, and they got to find someone else to take it. Because at the end, he's already going to be mid-80s. It's time for him to go. Time for him to go, Feinstein to go, Biden needs to go. All these people in their mid-80s, if you're having cognitive issues, I saw Alan Dershowitz. He's in his early 80s, and he is still, he was talking about all these issues. he is still clear, very clear up there, very articulate. So not everybody in the same boat, but these three are not doing well. These three are not doing well in this time for
So
change.
we did a show about RFK that I hope to be able to post in its entirety, but sum up what your opinion is of RFK, Robert.
RFK Jr., yeah. He's the son of Bobby Kennedy. He's the nephew of Jack Kennedy. Both were assassinated, right? That had a huge impact. And he soon saw his father at the hospital when he died from Sirhan shooting him with a 22 revolver right in his head, right? Shot him twice. And then he saw him in the hospital in Los Angeles. That was in the Ambassador Hotel. He's interesting because he is really, the Democratic Party, DNC, does not want him running. They don't even have debates. They're gonna do the same thing that did to Bernie Sanders to make Hillary Clinton win, even though he was doing well. They're going to use the superdelegates and make sure their candidate, they're deciding it. The people don't decide. The Republican Party, at least, is decent enough to let the people decide who they want in their party. The Democrats don't. They want to coordinate this person. This is it, and you're going to accept it, plain and simple. And RFK Jr. will accept that. He has his different issues, obviously. Some people think he's a conspiracy theorist about it. He doesn't believe in conspiracy. It wasn't just Oswald acted alone or Sirhan acted alone to kill his father. A lot of people think that's bogus. The Warren Commission put that to rest, and that also with Sirhan, it was clearly he was the only one there. He was convicted of that. He should have had the death penalty. Unfortunately, California reversed it and gave him life, and he almost got paroled. If you can believe that. And a lot of people want to take him to Palestine because his parents, Sirhan was Palestinian, right? He killed Bobby Kennedy because he's pro-Israeli, and he thought the policies of Bobby Kennedy helping Israel will hurt the Palestinian people. So he killed him. He's an early guy and killed him. I think he's been incarcerated the most of any inmate in California history, over 50 years.
Wow.
And counting. And if paroled, he would go to Palestine. He wants to return to Palestine. He'll be a hero in Palestine for what he did to one of our. No, he should never see the light of day.
So he's still alive.
Still alive. Almost got paroled, but at least Gavin Newsom stopped this one, even though he didn't stop the other one of the Manson witches to get out. She got paroled. She held down one of her victims and had her stabbed many, many times, right? Wow. She should never have been paroled either. I have her name in my book and everything else. So Gavin Newsom, I know, tries to stop certain people, but they have a big problem. If you see California, the disaster it is with the homeless situation, if you haven't seen the interview with Sean Hannity with him, check that out. At least Hannity and him go at it. It appears that he also wants to now a one-on-one debate with DeSantis. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Newsom and DeSantis. California versus Florida. What worked in Florida, what failed in California. I like that because a lot of Californians have left to go to Florida, not just New Yorkers. A lot have left from California. Yeah. And so you'll see a lot of that. So
it seems like all the Democrat Party led states and cities are just falling apart. They're loaded with crime. They're completely unsafe. People getting murdered and the feces and bodies in the streets and
needles everywhere. Bill, needles everywhere.
Yep, needles everywhere. People are afraid to visit these big cities anymore. Even the tourism is collapsing. It's collapsing around them. Their policies, the whole economy is collapsing. People are fleeing. Businesses are fleeing. There's no tourism.
Look at San Francisco. Look at what's happened in San Francisco, the business district there. It's collapsing. The COVID policy destroyed them, and now their lack of control on the homeless and people squatting and drug use. Who wants to be a part of that? Nobody does. Right. And of course, their taxes keep on going higher to go to the homeless situation, which even he said they were unaccountable. The money was wasted. You give all these other third parties to help fix a problem. It didn't work. Especially when you have people with mental health. I think we talked about it. These were veterans. A lot of them have mental health issues. You got to get them out of that environment. And then you can't just create an environment of homeless people. That's not going to work.
No.
That's
and even they're letting all these people across the border, these illegal migration, and they're putting them up, in hotels in New York. They're displacing veterans that need the place with illegals, giving them jobs and benefits in the amount of thousands every month.
It's crazy.
And then when, some people want to ship them, some of the Democrats are trying to ship them by bus to Republican jurisdictions. We're like, wait a minute. We didn't vote for this. We didn't agree to it.
Right.
Keep them
in then DeSantis sends them back to their district. They said, no. It's like they're playing like, here we go. You're going to send them over here. You're going to send them back over there again.
Right.
And that's what everybody's doing. You have to secure the border.
I saw somebody, I think it was one of the governors wanted to go after DeSantis for shipping the illegals out by bus. They wanted to sue him, saying that somebody who does that commits a crime. It's basically against their will. It's like a mass kidnapping to send them somewhere else,
They're here illegally. They're here
Right.
illegally, and they're getting processed. And it says, why are we taking the burden where other states aren't doing their fair share? So you know what? Here we go.
Trump.
These are failed policies. The border is a complete disaster.
This
The
is
wall has
why.
to be finished.
This is why I love Trump so much. All his policies seemed to be working when he was in, despite some of the things he got, messed up in his mouth, a little bit mouthy. I think his policy in Mexico was your tariffs are going to go up to 50% if you don't process these people on your side of the border. He gave them an ultimatum, and I'm pretty sure that's how he stopped all the flow of illegal migration.
I like Vivek's policy. If you haven't seen the show, he has like I said, podcast, and he interviewed Bill Barr, the former Attorney General, and he wants to win the war on drugs, and he said, listen, what tools can I use legally? You're Attorney General. Can I use the military to go in Mexico and fight the cartels?
Mhm.
And he said, it's a threat to the United States. Yes, you can. You have to compete with America. But the problem we have is Lopez Obrador is a socialist, and his policies hugs for thugs. And he is soft on cartel leaders, but he's scared of them because he's afraid the violence will. He doesn't care what happens in our country. He just cares about Mexico.
Right.
And that's a problem. But you know what? The violence is still high because they're still doing horrible things to people in Mexico. So that policy he has failed. So I think eventually it's going to have to go there where they have to treat him like a terrorist group to take care of these groups because you don't care about this country and you just want to dump all your problems and hopefully we fall like a rotten apple and letting the drugs pretty much destroy us from within.
Right.
That's
And
not
all
working.
the fentanyl that's coming in now, I can't even imagine. Like, years ago, I used to use Coke, but now they're putting fentanyl and cocaine. I'm like, for what? I mean,
Heroin, all the drugs are toxic to people. RFK Jr., I'm going back to him. He was a heroin addict. So after his his uncle was assassinated, his father, he suffered a lot. He became a heroin addict. And he talks about how he overcame that. It took him years to overcome this.
right.
He's a different person now. Interesting policy. Like I said, I don't like what he says about vaccines. He says he's not anti-vaccine. He just was anti-COVID vaccine.
Right.
He does, and some other things he talks about. But like I said, the war in Ukraine, we have to support. We have to help Ukraine, but there has to be an end game. I agree with that. We have to support Taiwan. Obviously, we can't let China. This sends a clear message to the Chinese CCP. We're going to protect Taiwan too. They've been a democracy 75 years. You're not going to come around and just dictate, especially the corruption. They're very corrupt in China. It's a communist system. They oppress their people. They've done. If you haven't seen, I wrote a book about that, about Xi Jinping, the genocidal dictator, and read about what he has done to his own people and how horrible they were doing COVID. Their economy is suffering a lot, Bill, because of those COVID policies, those stringent COVID policies. They shut down pretty much their economy.
Right. They shut down so tight that I heard once they released the shutdowns, they had a massive, COVID outbreak again.
Yes,
because it didn't spread through the population like it naturally was going to.
it's supposed to do. And people were protesting because they were losing civil liberties, and for years because of their failed policies.
Right.
I mean, they've done to the Tibetans, they've done to the ethnic Muslims in Northwest China, they've done to people who seek freedom in Hong Kong and other places. This is what the CCP is. That hopefully one day there'll be a free democratic China like it used to be, as opposed to having this dictatorship with Xi Jinping. We'll see.
Well, we're going to wrap this show up. But what I want you to do is discuss any books, especially your political books, what the titles are. All the books can be found in the description. If not on Amazon, my books as well are there and at williamsteeleauthor.com. And again, I asked this question for my fans. I'm seriously considering, not necessarily this time, but running for president in another, 4 years, 5 years. Reality TV star with millions of fans. I do enjoy helping people. I always served on the offender representative committee. I was a law clerk in prison, and you guys already know what you're getting with me. I came out of a criminal background, and so there'll be more scrutiny on me and more tearing up my past and all the haters. And I get it, but put it in the comments. Should I run for president? Should I not? And why should I? Why should I not? And Ignacio, let's wrap this show up.
Yeah,
what do you want to promote?
And I'm thinking about, like I said, I'm still considering running for Congress. And I guess Abigail Sandberger. I'm not very happy in this district that we were forced to be redistricted under her. I don't like her failed policies. I'm very pro Second Amendment. I'm very pro life. I'm very pro having a leaner, meaner government. Stop the excess of spending that we have. We have to do something about our deficit and national debt bill. It is just out of control. We got to be smarter, leaner. We got to do things. Obviously, seal the border. All these things. Very pro military. We got to be strong, seal our border, and we have to do something about the fentanyl crisis, heroin crisis. We have to do something with this homeless population. We're too good of a country, the greatest country on earth, to have this disaster all over with this homeless population.
Yep.
We need to find them a home. We get them off the street. We got to get them off the street. I don't care. It's a public nuisance. It's a health issue. Get them off the street. Get them the treatment that they need. And if they don't want it, then we have to do something, get them off, because it's unacceptable to have the needles and the violence and all this stuff. I was in walking back and forth ATF headquarters from Union Station, and it was atrocious before this whole breakout with COVID. I can only imagine. I try to keep away from that. I don't want to go there. I don't have to go there. I'm retired. But I can only imagine how atrocious it is now in DC.
A friend of mine is hosting a businessman who's here right now from New Zealand. And he said he just got back from DC for about a week. He said it was the most disgusting city he's ever set foot in his life. And he just left DC.
Yeah.
He said the filth, the homelessness, like you said, the needles. Washington, D.C. is the most disgusting place he's ever visited his entire life. He was appalled. And his treatment at the hotel, you know.
And you cannot carry a firearm in D.C. Even when we have a concealed weapons permit, you're not allowed to carry weapons in D.C., but the bad is the most violent areas in the country per capita, and the bad guys have everything they want, just like the cartels do, Bill. Failed liberal policies.
Yep.
Failed at every level. That's why I'm really considering running against her, because I think she's failed, and I think we deserve better, and I don't want that vote, especially if we're going to keep the House Republican. Every vote matters. Every vote matters for sure. So
Put something in the comments about Ignacio for Congress and William Steele for president next time around. I'm seriously considering it.
Here's the books. Joe Biden, one and done. I wrote it last year in April. My prediction, a lot worse now for him. I think his chances, like I said, he might be another LBJ. I don't think he's going to continue. I don't think he'll run. He shouldn't run. Maybe Gavin Newsom steps up and he'll find someone else without Kamala Harris, because she's awful too, because she's a heartbeat away from the presidency. And she can't even say, she doesn't know what she's saying. She's just a big word salad. But just watch all the speeches. You scratch your head. You don't know what you can just read random words from the dictionary. It'll make more sense of what she says. And I'm saying that because that's what's happening. This is the truth. And that's when we speak the truth. Sometimes people don't like it, but sometimes the truth hurts and you have to listen to it. You have to take your medicine. And that's very true.
Maybe one day we put up a reel of all of the things she says that you're referring to, because I've seen that, and I was scratching my head. I was like, she's telling people what a school bus does. I mean, and then things that are completely out of context, and then still have cackling all the time.
Her cackling is horrific. Yeah. Inappropriate laughter. It's just really bizarre. You know, Hillary Clinton used to cackle like that. Remember? She had all inappropriate laughter. People like scratching. What is she laughing at?
That's a sign of one, I think, nerves and arrogance, like laughing at, how dare you, ask me anything,
And she does have a lot of nerves because she's not prepared. Right. So when you're not prepared something, you get that nervous laugh, and she gets that crazy. If you want to see a really bad cackle she has, go look at the press conference she does in Poland about the immigration issue with Ukraine. And when she's asked what the U.S. is going to do with the Ukrainian refugees, she has a really inappropriate laughter, cackle, and she defers the question to the president of Poland.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So,
but you know what? Maybe we find that and put her cackling as a closing to the show. Thank you, Democrats, for bringing this.
Yeah. So Joe Biden, one and done. RFK Jr. If you don't know much about him, who's RFK Jr.? Just maybe the next U.S. president. A lot of information about that there. And of course, if you like 1%er stuff, I do a lot of biker books out there. And ATF Undercover on Audible, really good, doing really popular. Sean Milo, shout out to him. Great professional voice actor. Does a great job. It's about 2-hour mark, not too long, really good. And I got more coming out also, which you'll enjoy.
All right. Well, Ignacio, thank you so much for calling again. Every Saturday night, 8 p.m., join us right here. And this will be up on Steel Spotlight. Look me up. You want to look me up? It's official William Steele at iCloud. Thank you for joining, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Another good show. Good night.